Three orange lights look like fire in the sky. I never seen this before. That's on top of the Pacific Ocean over there. This is San Diego. You can hear that roaring sound. That's a plane behind me. They come from the east. They fly to the west. This thing's just like big in the sky. Bigger than a plane. One's getting smaller, one's gone. It's just two left now. That light, that white light that you see above the video, that's just a street lamp. The street lamp probably like 50 yards from here.
Hey, what is up guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. I have a very interesting piece of UFO footage to show you guys today, courtesy of a man located in National City, California. Now, National City is located in the South Bay region of San Diego. So, although it's nighttime footage, we clearly hear from the viewer that this object or set of objects, these lights, we'll call them, are hovering out over the Pacific Ocean at a standstill, basically. You're seeing some close-ups here, and as you can hear in the audio, this is someone who is from the area, knows the ocean, sees it all of the time, and, you know, he can't figure out what these things are, and it is very interesting. These do not look like your Chinese lanterns, which they move, you know, they move, they drift, they change with the wind, they blow out, so we can definitely rule that out. These things just sit there in a line, and they are extremely bright. They do not move, you know, from their spot. It's almost as if they're locked into position, and we've seen this before. A lot of these strange lights that just sit in the sky and almost look to defy gravity. You know, the wind doesn't affect them. They almost seem invincible to things like wind, air pressure, gravity, and they're unaffected. And so the question is this some sort of craft? Is this a triangular shaped craft? Only due to our viewpoint, it looks like three lights in a row. Now, towards the end of the video, we see one of the lights disappear, leaving only two. We hear some talk as to a distance between the, well, at least the camera viewer and the light post, and it's just really, really strange footage. Now, this was originally posted by my buddy Richard, who operates a fellow UFO research channel called Finding UFO. And I want you guys to head over there and subscribe. We featured many of his videos before, and he has some great footage up. And so we have been collaborating back and forth. And like I've said before, two of my favorite channels to work with are Finding UFO and StreetCap 1. StreetCap 1 is well known for finding the anomalous activity happening on the International Space Station cameras. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to check them out as well. But big thanks to Richard and to the viewer out of San Diego. If any of you guys have seen something similar, be sure to shoot me an email and footage if you have it, of course. So let me know what you guys think about this. And just to catch up here in other news, and you may have seen this, but there was a very intriguing discovery on planet Mars recently. In a photograph that was snapped by the MRO, or what is known as the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. And the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is a satellite that we sent to Mars some years back, and it has basically been circling the planet, mapping, taking pictures, doing reconnaissance, as they say. And in this photograph here, you're seeing the zoomed out version. A man who operates a channel called Mars Moon Space TV, and I'll put the link to his channel, we featured his stuff in the past, discovered what looks like a very large spherical object sitting down on the Martian surface, casting a very long shadow behind it. So here's the blown up photograph. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit, and I'll circle the area where this object is. Alright, so we've zoomed in a little closer, and I'm going to circle the object, and you'll be able to see it a little bit here. And this is located in an area of Mars called the Uzboy Vallis, and it's a very rich terrain that offers some beautiful shots of these deposits that are the after effect of a lake that existed there millions of years ago. So this used to be all covered in water. And as we zoom in closest, you can see this massive white spherical object sitting on the surface. Look at the shadow being cast behind this thing. And it's unmistakable. And it's just, sitting here on this ridge. And as you look around the image, you really don't see anything else like this. And that's kind of why it's stuck out like a sore thumb. And from the shadow it's casting, I would have to say this thing is not only large, but it may have some height to it. So we may have some sort of a tower structure here. And again, this is something we have found many times on Mars. We've spoken many times about the anomalous structures found on Mars and the Moon as well. But we found things on Mars that, suffice it to say, look artificial. And as far as towers go, we did a recent video where we talked about this set of 3 towers that were found. And as you're seeing here, we have these 3 tower-like structures perfectly spaced apart, all the same size, all the same height, identical, found in a virtually barren part of Mars, flat, nothing else around. And then we have these 3 almost what look like spikes, evenly spaced apart, and it just looks suspiciously artificial. And of course, we've featured these photos you're seeing here in the past showing what has been famously dubbed the monolith of Mars, which is another one of these towering structures that takes on more of a rectangular shape to it, also casting a long shadow behind it. But look at this. I mean, this looks like a, cut stone that's standing on its edge, and it just looks out of place. So these things are scattered across Mars. And I think it goes back to the theory that millions of years ago, and maybe not even that long ago, Mars was inhabited and it looked much like Earth. It had cities, it had buildings. There are people out there who have theorized that humans here on Earth actually originated from Mars, that there was some sort of cataclysm, a war, what have you. And so humans migrated from Mars to Earth in order to save the species. And the evidence of these scattered ruins and structures and things that just do not look natural have been found all over Mars and featured on the channel. So we have a great new discovery here. Perfect. From this angle, it looks like a sphere, a large sphere of some sort. And it yet again begs the question, is this yet another ruin? Is this some sort of monument? Is it just a giant boulder? I mean, it would have to be pretty large, and it does look pristine. It looks almost perfectly spherical. So you guys let me know what you think. I'll put the link to this down in the video description as well. I love looking at these Mars images because you never know what you'll find next. And so we'll just add this piece to the puzzle and see what more we can find. So lastly, I wanted to touch on an article that someone just sent to me that was recently published by the Huffington Post. And you're seeing that article here, titled, "NASA Says Claims of UFOs Near Space Station Are a Bunch of Space Garbage." They insist that alleged ET spacecraft are not out of this world. Well, of course they would say this. They're NASA, or as we call them, never a straight answer. So, a viewer sent this to me, and it was actually just posted on the 24th. And it would seem that this article would be sort of an undercover dig at a recent video that I posted, wherein which I gave kind of a scathing review of an article that the Huffington Post had published a couple of years back. So it almost seems like this might be sort of a hit piece to get back at me, and I'll explain more of that in a minute. But we'll go ahead into the article here, which directly references me and Secure Team. So this article is in direct response to a video we posted. But it goes to say, quote, "For years, UFO hunters have waged an ongoing battle with NASA. Armed with nothing more than an internet connection, anyone can spend hours on end searching for unexplained objects that might fly through the viewfinder of one of several HD video cameras mounted on the International Space Station." And then they refer to a video that I recently posted where European Space Agency astronaut Samantha Cristoforetti is demonstrating how to open and close this window hatch, or what are known as the shutters on the ISS. And if you guys remember, in that video, there is a point where as she opens this hatch on the window to the space station, in the distance of space, you can clearly see an unidentified object flying up through space, comes almost to a complete stop, and then makes a sharp left-hand turn and flies at an amazing speed until it's lost from the camera's view. I mean, it was undeniable, and if you haven't seen that video yet, I'll put it down in the video description. You can go watch it. And so this article goes on to reference my video, after which they indicate that the Huffington Post then reached out to NASA regarding these recent captures, and surprise, surprise, NASA responded with, quote, "No unidentified objects in the popular sense have been seen from the ISS. Reflections from station windows, the spacecraft structure itself, or lights from Earth commonly appear as artifacts in photos and videos from the orbiting laboratory." The article then goes on to state, quote, "The YouTube UFO chasers get riled up over statements like that, while competing with each other to come up with the ultimate UFO smoking gun visual evidence." And this is where I get the idea that this is sort of a dig at me and Secure Team, because they finished the article by bringing up the fact that I was critical of a particular Huffington Post article from 2016, wherein which they had interviewed the ex-astronaut Tom Jones. If you remember, I spoke about him in a recent video. He's the astronaut who suddenly came out of nowhere and said that UFOs don't exist, and that he used to be a fan of UFOs, but he's not anymore, and that no astronaut that's ever been in space has ever witnessed a UFO, which we later indicated that it's false. We know that that's false. Blatantly false. And so, to finish off the article, the Huffington Post states that, quote, "These types of UFO stories rarely show up in mainstream or non-tabloid publications, a strong indication of a credibility problem." Just, wow, man, you guys got me. Huffington Post, give yourself a hand. I don't think I've ever been dissed in such a way, claiming that because my UFO videos haven't been featured in the mainstream media, that this would indicate that I have a credibility problem. And again, this is obviously Huffington Post getting back at me for posting a video where I was critical of one of their recent publications. So they're attacking my credibility. And secondly, the statement that I've never been featured on mainstream news is also false. So, I don't take offense to the comment. And of course, the mainstream media has been very slow to report on the UFO phenomenon. And I think that speaks more to the fact that these huge media conglomerates are in part controlled by the government, and the government doesn't want this information out there. So I just wanted to end this video out today by saying thank you to the Huffington Post for the free press and publicity. I appreciate that you featured my video, and hopefully we can get some more viewers and open up some more eyes and minds. So with that, thank you guys for stopping by today. Remember to check out these other really cool UFO channels. Take a look at these Mars images with this object here. Let me know what you think about this UFO sighting off of the San Diego coast. And of course, if you have your own footage, be sure to email me or send me a message on Twitter. So, hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and I will see you back with much more in just a bit. Stay safe, guys.